I was eating lunch when my brother walked into the restaurant with our parents. He saw me in my work uniform and burst out laughing. Holy shit, still wearing that pathetic uniform at 28. What a fucking loser. He turned to his date, making sure everyone could hear. That's my brother, the family disappointment. We tell people he's in prison. It's less embarrassing. My mum came over. Sweetie, this is exactly why we took down all your photos. When friends visit, we say we only have one son. My dad pulled out his wallet with pitying look. Here's $70, son. Maybe finally do something with your life. He threw the bills on my table like I was homeless. Your brother just bought his second house, by the way. The entire restaurant was staring. My brother's date asked, "Is he special needs?" My brother smirked. "Nah, just born a failure." I just smiled and finished my meal. Today, exactly 1 month later, they all discovered what I actually do after my day job. Tonight, my DMS blew up with 84 messages. Please answer your phone. We had no idea. Oh my God. Your mother is having a breakdown. Can we talk? Please. I'm begging you. Stop acting like you're better than us, Evan. My brother snapped, his voice slicing through the tense air in my parents' living room. Better than you? I kept my tone steady. You humiliated me in public for years. I'm just not playing your game anymore. My mum slammed her mug down. Don't you dare talk to your brother like that. He's done more for this family than you ever have. Right, I said, leaning back. If by more, you mean taking and taking until there's nothing left. I'm Evan Cole, 28 years old. Line cook at a small diner by day, something else entirely by night. Though no one in this room knows it, for most of my life, I've been the quiet one. The one who doesn't fight back. But the thing about staying silent too long, people mistake it for weakness. And I've been choking on that assumption for years. The family cast. Greg, 33. My older brother, successful real estate agent, smug like it's his full-time job. Linda, 62. My mom, retired teacher, master at selective memory. Paul, 65. My dad, retired factory worker, loyal to Greg to the bone. They love the idea of family, as long as that family looks like Greg. Greg leaned forward, smirking. You know Mum and Dad had to take your picture off the wall, right? Embarrassing when people ask what you're doing with your life. Greg. My dad started, but it wasn't to stop him. It was to back him. We've been patient, Evan, my mum added. But you can't live like this forever. Like what? I asked, my jaw tight. Like a failure, Greg said, grinning like it was a joke, and there it was, the old familiar punch to the ribs. The conversation had been circling the same bitter drain for 20 minutes. Jab, counter-jab, Mum's disappointed sigh, Dad's silence. I was seconds from leaving when my father leaned forward, his hands folded like he was about to deliver some measured fatherly wisdom. Instead, he dropped a bomb. Greg told us about the loan, he said, almost casually. Loan? My voice came out sharper than I intended. We co-signed because your credit's terrible, he added. You should thank him. Time slowed. The room seemed to narrow until all I could see was Greg's smug face. What loan, Dad? Greg didn't even blink. You'll see it on your statements next month. He adjusted his cuff like we were discussing the weather. I used your info to fast-track my second mortgage, wasn't using it anyway. It was like a sucker punch. My stomach lurched. You stole my identity. The words tasted wrong in my mouth. Greg gave a lazy shrug. Stole? No. Borrowed. Family helps family. I stared at him, half expecting, no, half begging, for him to crack a smile and say it was a joke. But he didn't. My dad shifted uncomfortably. Mum looked at the wall. Nobody spoke up for me. This wasn't just a family insult anymore. This was felony territory. I could hear my own heartbeat, hard and heavy. Somewhere outside, a siren wailed. It felt appropriate. Greg had been in trouble before. The first time was 4 years ago. Gambling debt he dressed up as bad investments. He called me at midnight, voice shaking, asking for help. I sold my car the next morning, told my boss I needed a week off to take care of family. I lost that job. Greg lost nothing. When he was back on his feet, he rewrote the story, told people he had bailed me out. He had a way of saying things with such casual confidence that nobody questioned him. Why would they? Greg was the golden son. I remember standing in our parents' kitchen a few months later, overhearing Mom tell a neighbor, "Greg's always been there for his brother. Evan's lucky to have him." Lucky. That word had burned. It was the moment I realized the truth. In this family, my role wasn't son. It was backup resource. The weight in the room was crushing. Greg sat there like a cat who'd just eaten a canary, waiting for me to explode. Instead, I took a slow breath and let the silence stretch until he shifted in his seat. "You know what's funny?" I said, keeping my tone almost conversational. Greg smirked. "What? That you still think you can talk big?" "For months now, I've been working 2 jobs. I continued, ignoring him. "The second one, let's just say it pays better than your little house hustle." He chuckled, low and mocking. "What are you now, a drug dealer?" I let a small smile form. "No, but last month I signed a contract worth more than your last 3 sales combined." That landed. I saw it in his eyes, the flicker, the calculation. "I've been quietly buying properties for a non-profit housing trust," I said, voice steady. "We just closed on 3 blocks in town, including that little office you work out of, Greg." For the first time in years, Greg didn't have a comeback ready. Mum's teacup rattled against the saucer. Dad's brow furrowed. The silence wasn't awkward. It was surgical. Greg's smirk faltered, a hairline crack running through the mask. "You're lying. Check your lease renewal next month." My voice was calm, almost bored. "Your rent will be funding housing programs for single parents and veterans. I don't have to kick you out, but I could." Mum's face drained of colour. "Why didn't you tell us?" I laughed once, sharp, humourless. "Because you never asked. You were too busy deciding who I was allowed to be." Greg stood so quickly his chair screeched against the floor. "You think you're some kind of hero? You're still nothing, Evan. Just nothing, with a bigger ego now." He grabbed his jacket, muttering curses as he stormed out. Dad stayed seated, staring at the floor like the answers were hidden in the carpet pattern. Mum wiped at her eyes, silent tears streaking her cheeks. I didn't comfort her. Not this time. I walked to the door, the air behind me thick with everything unsaid. Dad followed. "Evan." I didn't know. His voice was low, almost pleading. I stopped, hand on the doorknob. "You didn't want to know." It wasn't cruel. It was the truth. When I stepped outside, the cool night air felt like the first real breath I'd taken in years. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Text after text. Mom, Dad, even Greg. Apologies tangled with excuses, offers to talk, promises that felt too late. For once, I didn't feel the need to reply right away, or at all. It's been 3 weeks since that night. We met for coffee once. The kind of awkward where you spend too much time stirring your drink just to avoid eye contact. Mum's trying. She sent me an article about the non-profit with a little heart emoji at the end. Dad's still quiet, but he asked me about work. A real question, not a loaded one. Greg. Well, Greg's not saying much, but a mutual friend mentioned he's been volunteering at a shelter. Maybe guilt, maybe pride, maybe both. I'm not waiting for them to see me anymore. I know who I am. Some days, I think about forgiving them fully. Not yet, but maybe someday. Because the truth is, carrying their weight was never my job. Living my own life is. If you were in my shoes, humiliated by your own family, only to turn the tables when the truth came out, what would you have done? Would you have forgiven them right away or walked away for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and if you believe people deserve second chances, or if you've ever been underestimated, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Your story matters. Don't let anyone else write it for you.